Hi, my name is Jamie McDowell and I'm the principal at St Joseph's Primary School in Wee Waa, and I just wanted to share with you part of our new writing system that we've rolled out in term 3 of this year. The program is very heavily driven on goal setting, where the children actually identify what we term as a big fat pencil goal, and the children identify that goal through their writing. And on the wall here you can see that we've actually linked it to our VCOP philosophy, where the goals are actually set out in vocabulary, connectives, openers and punctuation. And that was not our intention. The children actually decided that that would be the best way to display their goals, because at certain points of the week when they reflect on their goals, they can then come together as a cohort of learners where their student voice can be heard, and they can actually then articulate to each other how they're going, how do they know, and where do they go to for help, and how can they actually improve it. And that's part of their voice and how they can uplift, level up their writing to meet their goals. As they meet their goals, they then could move into their next point of need, which could be a vocabulary, it could be an opener, or it might be a more complex version of the current goal that they're actually working on. This has made such a difference in our writing, where children are just hungry to meet their goal and see what's next.
And you call on police? Why do you want to get caught? Ben didn't do anything wrong. So why do we think Ben didn't want to get caught?
Do you think it's the same police officers that are chasing them now that went to their house?
No.
Yes and no. Hands up for yes. Hands down, hands up for no. Bad plan. They were the words.
Why is it important that we undertake these pre-assessments for spelling? Why is it important, Paige?
So that we can show our growth.
So you can measure growth, that's right. So you haven't had a really good look at your words yet. Some of you have. Some of you will get to do that today and play around and have a sort of your words and get to know them. Working over here, we have jelly beans. So if I can get the jelly beans, don't get your thing.
Today they broke off into their groups to complete an open sort. An open sort is where the students sort their words based on what they believe they can be sorted in. So it could be part of speech, it could be the syllables, it could be the sounds, alphabetical order, it could be based on prefixes, suffixes, all of those things.
What's a way I can work out some other words? It's a really simple way. I'm ready. So let's go. Fear. Does that fit here?
And then they're writing a justification as to why they decided to sort their words the way that they did. 2 guided groups then work with a leader of learning each, and they look at a pre-assessment where the students are pre-assessed on their knowledge of their new sound focus before they spend 2 weeks working with those words, completing sorts, activities looking at how to break up a word, the parts of the word, the meaning of the word, the origin of the word.
What we're doing is trying to find the origins of our words and putting them into a table, and then we're doing a justification of why we put them into these special titles and what worked well and what we could do better.
Then at the end of the 2-week cycle, the students are then given a post-assessment to move them on to their next list. The students then take their words home to work with at home to continue developing their knowledge of their sounds. Then during reading workshop, the students are once again in ability-based groups based on their reading levels. Reading levels are determined through a benchmark, which is done every 5 weeks to determine the student's level of growth for that 5-week block. The students have a range of activities to complete. One of the main activities we focus on is Fluency Tutor. It's a program where the students read a text to themselves, they read it with their phonic phone, and then they read it aloud and record it. Once it's recorded, they then answer some comprehension questions and bring their Fluency Tutor back to their guided group, where they then break down where they made any mistakes, any sounds that they still don't know when they're reading. We look at the chunking and dissect method of how to decode words if they made a mistake, and what they can do to improve their fluency.
I'm listening to my voice, so I know how I'm sounding, how fluent I am in my reading, and it's very helpful.
Another activity the students are completing this morning is a word of the week, where they look at a word from our word wall and they break down the word in the meaning of the word, the origin of the word, how to spell the word, putting the word in a complex sentence, and the focus of that is to increase the students' vocabulary so that then they can use these words in their writing later on in the session. The students also complete guided reading with a leader of learning, where they're focusing on their cluster goals. So the students are given a cluster goal for their reading and for their comprehension, and they're also develop their own personal goal. And as a group, we work on achieving those 3 goals through a specific text or through a range of texts, depending on what the goal that the students are working on is.
What our learning intention is today is to fluently read more demanding subject texts that have increasing levels of technicality and abstraction while concentrating on and maintaining the meaning. Okay, so I've got 2 texts today that I think are pretty abstract and they've got technical words in it. So we're going to have a read through them. We're going to gauge our understanding as we read, and we're also going to talk about the technical terms, because what's the use of reading a book if you don't understand the words in it? Is there any value? No. Hey, my name's Alison Hatton and I'm a leader of learning at St Joseph's School, and I've been privileged to be introduced to this great new scheme called VCOP. VCOP stands for Vocabulary, Connectives, Openers and Punctuation, and the whole idea behind this is to promote those kids that struggle with writing, to give them a great scaffold to work on to improve their writing. So you can see here we've got some really high level vocabulary, and we've got some connectives and some openers and punctuation. They come from the kids' learning, they come from their task, and they come from the talk that we have as a group. Okay, the punctuation pyramid here starts with a space at the top, okay, which is really important in kindergarten, and it's like a gradual release where they start implementing capital letters and full stops into stage 3, where we start using ellipses and brackets, etc. in our writing. Yes?
There was an abandoned mention.
Abandoned mention, I like it.
Derelict.
Derelict, I like it.
Crickety.
Crickety. Rickety.
Haunted.
Haunted.
Dilapidated.
Dilapidated. Like dilapidated. Hands up if you like dilapidated. I think a dilapidated mansion. Now, we're going to add an opener. Is that what we're up to, Mrs. Cullen-Hatton? Let's add in an opener. We've got lots of openers around our room.
As a result of the passing years, the mansion was dilapidated.
As a result, would work, wouldn't it?
Venturing too far through the rocks,
I like it.
found
Venturing too far beyond the rocks, I saw a dilapidated man.
We're up to add punctuation if required.
Rightio, adding punctuation. What are some ways we could add punctuation to that? Pretty easy stuff now, isn't it? We've got a great sentence. Carly will read it to us in a minute. Where could we add punctuation?
ellipsis at the end.
At the end. Today in our class lesson today, our learning intention was to use ambitious vocabulary and high impact literary devices with complex punctuation in our writing. So we started with a base phrase, there was a house, and we went through a process of up-leveling different parts of that sentence, okay, by changing the order, adding the openers, adding figurative language. It's just a great scaffold of up-leveling to finally get to our sentence, which with the wind whistling through the cracked windows, I witnessed a dilapidated mansion despite venturing too far beyond the rocks. Okay, and it's really important that the kids are checking to make sure that they've included all their parts of their success criteria to meet the task.
Okay, so my name's Caitlin Koo-Smith and I'm in Year 6, And my inspiration for this story is the Holocaust. I'm very interested in what happened during the Second World War. In the long run, I thought the heinous wrath of the Nazis would remain. That's what everyone else spoke of. Thankfully, they did disperse in time, but not all. We were situated at Bergen-Belsen, not a death camp, but a concentration camp. 1st of September 1945. Ice landscape trying, but not succeeding to distinguish the harsh, traumatic reality. Intrusive hands impelling us forward, Nazis swearing. It was all too much. Bang. Silence. Desiccant, alienated acreage consumed me as I plummeted into a universe of ebony-coloured isolation.
When you were composing it, did you compose it as a group or on your own?
On my own.
Composing it, what were the main things that you were trying to keep in mind?
Polish language,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and also the true facts about the Second World War, high vocabulary and high level punctuation.
It's quite sophisticated, some of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you a good reader? Do you
Yeah.
love to read? Because, obviously when you're reading higher level text, some of that can be very helpful.
It's like really sad, but also really interesting at the same time.
And being able to compose something like that can sometimes help you understand it a little bit more.
Yeah.
As the night finished devouring the day, I sauntered towards a spirit-infected, creeping and whistling eyesore. I slipped into the unseeable dangers of the house, feeling like a wilted flower in the wrong environment.
Feeling like a wilted flower in the wrong environment. Well done.
Secluded and oblivious on a dark, lightless night, nevertheless I trudged on.
Well done.
Late Victorian-style mansion after passing over a rotting wooden bridge, even though it was whispering at me to turn around.